Overwatch 2 is one of the most hated games of all time. I think it's definitely up there at least. Overwatch 1 was a game that was beloved enough at launch to win Game of the Year. It took a relatively novel concept of a hero shooter and expanded on it into something great. However, as time went on, people dropped out due to lackluster updates and fatigue from the game. This led to the announcement of Overwatch 2, a whole new revamp to the game with new heroes, free-to-play PvP, and a whole new PvE story mode. After a good bit of time where the original game got little to no updates, Overwatch 2 came out and was a complete dumpster fire. As it shut down the original game to take its place, the launch had a ton of issues and things that were worse than the first, and the game didn't even have the promised PvE mode either. Even though the slow decline of Overwatch as well as the soured reputation of Blizzard made Overwatch a target of criticism from people who played the game and a little bit from outsiders, Overwatch 2 made the game the punching bag for the entire gaming community. I can't even blame them either. I'm not going to defend that horrible excuse for a launch. However, it's been over 3 years since that point, even if it hasn't felt like it. Most live service games start off rocky and work their way into being mainstays in their respective genres or player bases. Overwatch 2 has bounced back player numbers wise, but is it worth playing now? Are the issues that this game dealt with still here, and how bad are they? And most importantly, is the game fun? Let's find out. I think the best way to review the game in a video like this is to take a look at some of the biggest pain points with the launch and see if and how much they've improved in the years since. Then, after, I'll go into my own personal experiences. Since this is how I like to start, let's start with the positives and what is better now. An easy one is the networking and server issues. They seemed like they were pretty bad at launch, which makes sense with how many new players the game was getting. But I haven't really had any issues with this sort of stuff in the few months I've played the game. I don't usually feel any issues with lag or desync or anything like that. The game is pretty stable and responsive when it comes to that sort of stuff. One thing that is completely improved is unlocking heroes. One of, if not the worst thing the game had was the fact that you had to unlock the new heroes through either challenges or the battle pass. I hate this in any competitive game. I will dunk on any game from Brawl Stars to League to Siege to 2xKO that does this type of stuff. If you want to be a game with any competitive integrity, even if you're free, you should allow all players to access the full sandbox of gameplay to work with. It's okay if you want to sell cosmetics or whatever, but having gameplay locked is stupid. It's just stupid to think otherwise. And either due to the devs realizing that or public pressure, Overwatch 2 changes the heroes to be available to everyone no matter what day of release. This should have been there from the start, yes, but it's certainly a welcome improvement. The other main thing I can say that is completely positive is the free progression and unlocks you can get now. When the game launched, the only way to get skins and cosmetics was either by buying them, the few little free things you got from the battle pass, and the little paid currency you got from doing challenges. It wasn't great, but honestly most free-to-play games aren't. Well, this isn't the case anymore. There's plenty more ways to get free cosmetics now. The main two improvements are the loot boxes and the challenges. After they were removed for Overwatch 2's launch, they later added loot boxes again for you to earn. I'm very much against gambling in games, so I was very skeptical at first. But so far, it's just been free-to-play progression with no monetary element. Through playing the game, even with no events running, you can get 3 loot boxes a week where you can earn various cosmetics ranging from pointless filler to previous shop skins. Are they the best possible way to earn cosmetics in a game? Absolutely not. But compared to a lot of other free-to-play games, I'd say it's a lot more fair. The 3 loot boxes you get is usually an underestimate though, because the challenges are a lot better now too. There's almost always some sort of event running with challenges you can work towards, giving you skins, battle pass progression, and of course loot boxes. Some of them can be a grind and a bit rough, but for the most part, as long as you play and participate in whatever flavor of the month stuff is being added, you'll get progress. That's the fully positive improvements. So now onto the stuff I find a bit more mixed still. While I still think there's some negativity to these things, I still think most of these are mostly on the positive side. The first is the price of skins and the skins themselves. While I did mention earlier that it is a lot easier to get skins now, if you want to buy a specific skin in the shop or especially a collab skin, it's going to cost a pretty penny. On that same note, the battle pass is another mixed bag. From a progression standpoint, it can feel really slow if you're not constantly playing the game every day, at least from my experience. However, this game does something I've never seen in a game: make it better for free-to-play players than paid ones. In games like Fortnite, paid players will get their premium currency plus a little extra in the pass, while free players get very little. If you're free and want to get a pass in those games, it'll often take over a year of free pass progression to get to that point. In Overwatch 2, everyone can earn half the currency for the pass, so free players can afford the pass every other season. This is a lot more generous than I've seen out of any free-to-play game like this. So if you play the game consistently, you can get half the battle passes without spending a dime. On another note, Overwatch 1 being shut down still is really bad. I care a lot about game preservation, so I certainly won't argue that. However, Overwatch 2 has caught up a lot in the few years it's been out. They added back 6v6 casual and competitive to the game, and OG modes come back pretty frequently to allow you to experience a close experience to the original game as well. I would rather the original game still exist, but for what we have, it could be a lot worse. The revamped progression system is nice with more substantial rewards for progressing on characters like cosmetics and loot boxes. I will concede though and say that the old system did have more aura. It was fun voting on medals and stuff and getting cool borders for your player icon. The last thing in the mixed category is the balancing. I think the Overwatch balancing team has always been a bit insane, and they certainly are still now. The new heroes they add are usually broken and metas usually take a while to get fixed. However, I don't think it's anywhere as bad as the Overwatch 2 launch or even Overwatch 1. Heroes like Vendetta are nowhere near as annoying to play against as Release Sombra, or literally makes me quit the game like Release Brigitte. And for the last category, we have the stuff that's still bad. Let's get the easy one out of the way, the PvE. Yeah, it's still stupid. There's barely any content for it, and the stuff they did release was unfinished, overpriced mid. One of the main reasons Overwatch even went to 2 was for PvE, and for it to be this pathetic of an experience deserves to still be criticized. Another thing is ranked or competitive. It's still a pretty miserable experience, but like, is it a fun experience in any competitive game like this? I certainly can't think of one. The last thing is kind of cheating, but the Steam reviews. It's really funny reading the script because while a lot of the hate was from valid players, it lacks the Chinese context. Yeah, I never thought I'd read that out in a script. The insanely low reviews, while a lot did come from English-speaking countries, was largely Chinese players venting their frustration due to being unable to play the game. It just leaked over into the score of the English versions that we could actually see here over on the West. Overall, I'd say most of the problems are fixed, or at least mostly remedied. The game is in a much better state than it was when it released. But taking the pros and cons away, how was my experience getting back into this game? Despite me being super opposed to it for the longest time, I mostly enjoy the game now. I think it's funny because Marvel Rivals was literally my dream game. I imagined making a Marvel Overwatch clone when I was like still a kid. Then I tried it out and it was alright. I really wanted to like the game more than I did, and it's probably a great game, but the third-person view, gameplay design, and performance issues pushed me away. Since I had some friends who were into Overwatch, I tried it again and I actually quite enjoyed the gameplay experience. I'm by no means a high-level player, so if you're a super good player at this game and hate it, that's totally valid. But I have fun just playing with the heroes I like and quick play with my friends. I started by just playing my mains in Soldier, Lucio, and Hog, but as I played the game more, I started to love playing with the whole cast, enough to the point where my favorite tank is now Ramattra instead. It's easy to hop in and just play some good FPS action and not take it too seriously. There's also plenty to do whenever I hop on, with plenty of events and things to earn and new stuff to do. My main game before this was like CS, so I certainly feel spoiled in that department. The only thing really holding me back on this game is the matchmaking. I didn't mention this earlier since it wasn't really an issue at launch, or at least brought up that much, but it can be completely rough sometimes. We really don't know too much about the matchmaking in this game, so we can only speculate, but it really feels like a mess. I'll have 2 to 3 good games when I get on, and then after is nothing but getting stomped. It really feels like the weird and low-key kind of evil engagement optimized matchmaking they have going on over with COD. And considering that they're from the same company, or at least related to each other, I wouldn't be surprised. Despite this game is probably still my favorite hero shooter on the market. I know there's like this and Rivals and maybe TF2 if that counts, and that's it, but still. I think the game is in the best state that it's been in since Overwatch 1, and I'm glad that we got back to a game I love playing. So, should you play Overwatch 2? I think it depends on the type of player you are. If you've never liked Overwatch in the first place, I don't think it'll change your mind right now. It's basically the same old Overwatch that people know and love, so if it wasn't your cup of tea then, it won't be now. If you're a new player, I'd definitely say it's worth a shot. It's free, has lots of things you can earn with no upfront cost, and I'd say there's really no other game like it on the market. There's still so many experiences I get with characters in this game that I can't get anywhere else. Like, I wish I could play a hero as fun as Lucio in another game. That suggestion would also extend to Marvel Rivals players as well. While the games are trying to compete with each other in the hero shooter space, I think they are both trying something different enough for each game to stand on its own. And Rivals itself has been a great push to Blizzard to improve their game and vice versa. It's like that image of the two cakes. Who doesn't like two cakes? The last group of players is people who were like me and dropped the game in Overwatch 1 or at the launch of Overwatch 2 and never came back. I would say to give it another shot. While I'm not the best player or anything, I'm certainly having as much of a fun time as when I played Overwatch 1 close to release a decade ago on my Xbox One. It isn't a guarantee or anything you'll like the current state of balancing or the gameplay, but it definitely isn't in a bad spot at all in my opinion. If there's any time for most people to get into Overwatch, it's now, and I hope to see this game get even better in the coming years. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the hype if you can as well, because it helps YouTube know that you enjoyed the video and helps get it out to more people as well. How do you feel about Overwatch 2? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it or your experiences in the comments. Special thanks to Master Necro, Nico, Max, Notice, and A19 for supporting me on Patreon and YouTube memberships. Links below that and my Discord if you want to be extra special and help me out even more for just $1 a month. My name is Chaos For Real, and this video is pointless. We're all hopping on Battleborn. Yeah, I just realized I didn't talk about Stadium once. I don't play it, but it's there and seems pretty okay. I thought I should mention it here so I don't get a million comments about it.